I'm not.
Hold on, deliberately outsourcing your listings or people are taking your listings from you?
Um, People are taking them. I certainly wouldn't be deliberately handing them off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit, figure out how we beat the competition here. Andy, you were saying you're outsourcing a
Oh,
bit?
so outsource, I do the transaction coordinator. I do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this meeting is not as popular as the AI stuff, and Aton, when he comes in, was like, "Why are we going more AI?" The reality is that there was a world before AI. I know you might find that strange hearing that come from me, and I do believe that understanding the work process is extremely important. So I am curious. I want to go back to more of a conversation here about your workflow and what's going on. Andy, what do you pay for your transaction coordinator?
So, I pay like if it's with that title company, the in-house title company, they pay for it. So, of course, I encourage anyone who is suggesting who to use, they pay for it. If not, it's about 700.
700 transaction.
Yeah, 700 transaction. Yep, yep.
Dina, is that expensive? I don't know whether it is or it isn't. I
449 a transaction for my
Marlene
transaction.
pays 449. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I thought that they charged like 450 or 500, 700. Do they do it based on the size of the transaction? Is that,
They don't. No, they don't.
I thought
Yeah.
700 sounds a little high.
You know what? And it could be. And it was like I was at the point, like when moved to Douglas Elliman, when I was in Jupiter from Keller Williams, I was just whoever someone suggested, I went with them. They did a good job. And I thought,
Sure.
but but it's good to know because, money is money. But I just was so overwhelmed with everything. They were good. They did a good job. So I just went with them. Um, but
Let,
that's for
let
sure.
me also just say about price, without knowing this person, and they could be lovely and they could do a better job, and there might be all these other services. There's a saying that I really like. Uh, you could take your date to a soup kitchen for dinner, or you could take her to a cirque. Now, in which one do you think you're going to be lucky enough to have breakfast? No? Too sexist? Bad? Not good? No? A little bit? Okay. The reality is both are meals, going to McDonald's or going to a Cirque or going to a soup kitchen or going to, but there is some certain effectiveness. And Andy, that said, perhaps you could have a little champagne on a beer budget, it might be, we're trying to,
Yeah, no, it's super good to know for sure.
okay. Who else is outsourcing stuff? Andy, I think you were kind of raising your hand for a second. I don't know if no, he's shaking his head no. Okay.
No, I don't
Okay,
think so.
good. Jonathan in Boston is sort of, what do you got there, Jonathan?
So we don't use a transaction coordinator. What we do is we outsource the creation, not the creation, but all the administrative tasks around our social media. So we have a virtual assistant that originally was in the Philippines. She's since moved to Japan.
Huh.
Um, uh, we use her probably about 20 hours a week, and she basically takes we create content for her for the week, and then she basically deals with all of it, whether it's our social media posts, whether it's our newsletters, which are monthly, whether it's our email campaigns or emails that go out on a weekly basis, and takes a ton of the administrative stuff off of our desk for not a ton of money. And we developed a fabulous relationship with her, and we trust her, and it's been a very rewarding situation for us.
That's great. Can I ask again, and you could say no, about pricing?
Um, Pricing for if we're doing a full 40 hours a week, it's about, I want to say $900 to $1,000 a month. Uh, but we're using it for a little bit less than that. So yeah, between we're paying around $300 a month for her.
You're paying around three. Oh, so you're using a lot less. I mean, she's a
Yeah.
part-time.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. We share her with with our
Got
teammate
it.
now.
Got it.
So $600 a month for our social media and all those administrative tasks. Now, again, not a transaction coordinator. I want to be clear about that. because for a number of reasons, we like to keep that in-house.
Sure. This will test your limits as a as a manager. I want everyone to just write that down. When you outsource stuff, it is really truly testing your limits. And there's a few reasons why, and we're going to get into that.
Let me just interrupt with one thing. So in terms of management and testing your limits, as you're talking about, we have a call with our virtual assistant 3 days a week at the very beginning of the day. We don't let her run off on her own. You need to manage it, otherwise it does not succeed.
So say that again. I'm sorry.
Uh, you can't. In outsourcing things, we've found that you can't just send her stuff by email and just let her run with it. You need to have a direct relationship with them, and as a result, we have a scheduled recurrent call with her every morning, early in the morning, basically setting our expectations, setting what she's going to produce for us, and basically staying on top of it. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Okay. Well, Jonathan, I'm going to get back to, and how long have you been working with your virtual person?
A few years now.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else working with, as far as outsourcing? It could be any aspect of the job. Look, this is how I want you to think of your business right now. You've got an igloo. It could be a brick house, but let's make it an igloo because igloos are kind of fun and I'm in Florida. It's brick by brick of ice that goes to make that igloo. What Jonathan and all of us are doing with any type of help, with any type of work, whether it's virtual, whether it's synthetic, whether it's an AI, whether it's your team, you're trying to build a house. You're trying to do that, and if there's one key brick that's missing, you've got a problem. The next question I'm going to ask all of you is, how do we prove the value of that? Is there a provable dollar amount that you could come to? And the answer may be no. Sometimes, I've been outsourcing for many years now. Sometimes the answer is that, I threw this big party for myself a few years ago. I called it the 41st anniversary of my bar mitzvah. I had 100 and some odd people come. I spent more money than I could possibly imagine on such a thing. And right now, I closed one deal that was $7.3 million. That was a couple years later. And I've got a $9 million listing as a direct result of that. But boy, what a long tail it was to get that. And what a tiny margin of success that was at this point. Now, will there be more opportunity in the future? Maybe. But one of the things that I always worry about, what people say, well, if you did that well, why don't you keep throwing parties for yourself? I might. There might be, but it's a very scary, daunting thing. And I just want you to know, I feel that fear as well. Marlene, please unmute yourself and enlighten us.
Yeah, so my besides the business aspect of outsourcing, my coach highly recommended that I outsource anything that can give me back more time to put into my business and also to put into my family, which is important to me, and going to church on Sundays, all that kind of good stuff. So I mean, outsourcing from having someone come into my house, wash the car, instead of having my housekeeper come twice a month, she comes now every Saturday, like clockwork. So that makes me feel better. I like when everything's nice and organized. I'm a little OCD. So that just clears up a lot of time and makes everything flow better in my house and my
Sure.
life.
Hallelujah. I love that. And this is, again, I'll say it in every meeting. This is not about being carried out by your pallbearers till you work yourself to death. It really is a function of figuring out what you really need to be able to work effectively. Let's talk about the tasks that could be outsourced. And we'll talk about the reason why so many of you kind of resist this. Let me just go around. I'm going to randomly talk to you guys. Terry, I'm going to pick on Terry. I won't pick on Alicia because she's driving, but I'd love to if she pulls over at some point. Hedeka and Denver. Maybe I'll pick on him. You guys don't have to answer. You don't have to be. I think Denver ran away. No, there he is. Okay. Uh, so, throwing this out, Terry, give me just one or two topics that you would outsource or that you have outsourced or in your mind you think you could outsource.
Social media, absolutely social media. Me and my team, we spend so much time spitballing. What do we do? Planning, blah, blah, blah. The calendar that we put together is always not what it becomes not what we think it was. But to be able to give that to somebody and a calendar that won't be distracted by, oh, we have a new listing or oh, I have a showing at that time that we were supposed to finalize this would be just glorious to be able to get that off my plate.
Very good. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. And here's the next question. Actually, not a question for you to necessarily answer, but for you to think about how much is that worth to you, and how much of that time do you get back from it? Again, keep that in your mind. I'm not going to put you on the spot with that just this second. Hedika, can I pick on you?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I don't want to be mean.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to ask a question.
Go ahead, please. This is a
Things,
place for asking
yeah.
questions.
Okay. So I feel like I'm a new agent, because I'm kind of like lost the touch. And now that I want to, actually, I'm taking what is the class I even for the boot camp. Actually, I'm doing the boot camp now.
What boot camp
And
from your company?
no, yeah,
With Jeff
with Jeff,
Stanton. Yeah, Jeff
yeah,
Stanton.
yeah.
Okay.
So, so basically, and now I see it's so much homework to do, so much homework, and I don't have the patience anymore. Meanwhile, I'm not making money right now. So I wanted to pick up anybody's brain that how much is a good amount to start investing to basically start coming back to, because I know what I'm doing. I'm in the business 26 years. It's not that I don't know, but I see so much like with the social media and all the new stuff that are coming to the market, it's just overwhelming for me, and I know if I'm not on top of it, I'm losing the game basically.
Oh, okay.
So
So that's called FOMO, fear of missing out. And you don't need to have FOMO here anyway. You mentioned so many things in one little statement. You're amazing. So let's unpack some of this. One, you feel as though you're not keeping up. You said something along those lines. Do you mean with the tasks that he's giving you in the class? She
in
froze.
general, even I'm not I've never when I started the business, I knew everybody in town, and business came to me, and it was so different. Now, like I have to treat it as a business, and it's hard for me. I'm not a businesswoman. Let's put it this way. So mission statement, do this, do that. All these things
I,
are
I'm,
I
I'm,
don't know. I just it's not
Hold on,
me,
Hedika, we're missing
you
about half
know.
of what you're saying because you've got to.
I don't know. I
Hedika,
just
can you hear me?
what happened? Yeah,
No, you've just got a very
yeah.
choppy thing right there. First of all, I hear what you're going through. There's a non-technical term that people have thrown out. I think it's called analysis paralysis. Have you ever heard that term, analysis paralysis? It's kind of a good ring to it. I don't, again, I'm going to act as though you're hearing this because I know your connection's not so great. But what you're saying is your mission statement and all this. You're getting really hung up on all. At the end of the day, here's a house, here's a buyer, buy the fucking thing.
I know.
Okay. So that that's really what it boils down to. Please, please, please don't get too wrapped up in all of this because you're not the first person to tell me that you go into these seminars and you feel you have to keep up. That's why I'm telling all of you this is a hop on, hop off bus. You've got to stop, think through, and pick out the very things that matter to you most. In fact, let's narrow it down to three. And then you can reverse engineer it and see who could do that work for you. Terry said that he wants to outsource his social media. Well, that's all fine and good, but social media is kind of personal. It's almost like going back to that date analysis, having someone stand in on the date for you and explain how great you are and all that. Well, that might not always work. Sometimes can you outsource all of this? Of course you can. You just have to have strategy and structure, and that's what's going to really help you win out. So oh, Andy's really excited here.
I'm sorry.
She's
The
so
only I
excited.
just want to tell Hedeka, like, so last fall I did that boot camp and I was so diligent. Like, if you miss one meeting, you're out. I did it. I did the homework. It was so overwhelming. I did everything and I thought it was overkill. It was too much. And I thought, oh my God, it just was overkill. I'm not saying it's not, I just thought it was too much. So, I don't know if you're liking it, but I did think it was overkill. I thought it was like weeks and weeks and you have to be on and it was just, I thought it was just too much. So I'm just from like, I can understand why you're overwhelmed and the mission statement. And honestly, at the end of the day, I don't think we necessarily need all that. It's just too much. I think it's better to just like keep it more simple. So, I mean, if you're liking it, it's one thing, but I did it. I did all the homework. I didn't miss a day. I didn't miss, and it was just like I was so drained after. It was like 4 weeks or something, or 6 weeks.
Does,
Is
does that make you feel better, Hedeka? I mean,
You,
yeah.
you know, the thing is, I'm a very good student, so
Uh-huh.
I'm the same thing. So when I
Yeah.
say I'm doing this, I'm doing it, and I need to do the homework. I'm like,
Yeah.
but but the thing is, basically, I needed to have a schedule and to be able to put my head back in the business, and instead of just calling my friends, going for coffee and talking to people, yeah, give business card, but that's not real business. I feel like I have to do more now to really get a business. I have to put myself out more. I have to talk to more people about real estate, not just talk to them. So I wanted a kind of a structure, and I thought maybe this boot camp would just push me to go back into the business mind.
well,
But yeah, it's a little too much. Yeah.
we'll get to I want to address all of this more because really you have the courage to say what most of us are thinking. Okay, so good for you. You're a winner for actually speaking up. There's a lot of other people that are afraid to actually say that, but you weren't. Marlene, you had your hand up a second ago, unless I didn't lower it before. You're still muted though. So
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Hedeka, is she in a brand new market?
I'm not, but what happened is that I live in Great Neck, and my business was all in Great Neck. And then I just 10 years ago I decided to go to the Roslyn office, and I thought maybe this way I can kind of branch out my business. But it didn't work. It didn't work. I'm still very stuck into my own community, and I know what I know, and I'm getting older too. So I don't have that much energy to like schlep around. So I feel like I should be back in Great Neck again physically. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. Let's put it this way. But no, I'm not
so
in a
I'm
new
I'm
market.
I'm happy to hop on a call with you, Hedeka, sometime
Hmm.
this week if you like. I moved from Miami to Orlando, brand new market, not knowing one single person. So
Yeah,
happy to chat with you about that.
definitely. I always liked you, and I always follow what you're doing. So
well that you see, this is what I started this group for. That's exactly what Erica and Marlene, if you need any help getting to, you could DM each other right now and pass out. But I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Two different markets, two different people. You could be a source for one another. And yeah, follow in Marlene's footsteps because she's doing it. And I think that's
Yeah.
great. I think
Can I
that's
say
great.
something, Edmund? This is Kirsten.
Kirsten, oh my goodness.
Hi, and I'm so
Kirsten,
sorry I missed Friday for the because I wanted the follow up, but I
tell
had
everyone
this
who you are
happens.
and where you are, Kirsten, because
I'm
it's
Kirsten Smith. I'm in Delray Beach, Boca Raton area. I've been selling for 22 years, and I'm constantly overwhelmed, and then I get frustrated, and I don't want to outsource because like social media is something that I would love to, but it's so personal to me that I just can't. I'm afraid to. So I like analysis paralysis. That happens every time I go to a Tom Ferry event. I freeze because they fire hose so much information at us, and it's so overwhelming. But there's so many new technologies that we need to learn and implement all the time. So I totally get it. And I was just thinking for, uh, um, I forget her name.
uh,
There's
Hedeka.
Hedeka that was
Yeah.
just speaking. Yeah, it is. It's so overwhelming to like start over again. And is there like a team that you could kind of fold into, or do you have to be on your own? I mean, because it's really about the connections ultimately and like just
Yeah.
reestablishing yourself.
Actually, my office, that's what one reason also to move to that office. They are team based, basically. A lot of them, they have teams, but for some reason we didn't work with that. And actually, I had a group of people that not a team, but we were working together. But now basically they're all like moved on with whatever they're doing. So I feel kind of like I'm on my own again and I have to start over again by myself,
Well,
without any help.
Right.
So,
we,
yeah.
we could narrow all this down. Hedeka, and I think all of you, there's a woman I want to tell you about. She's not in this meeting. I really would love to have her on sometime. Her name's Louise. She's in our office in Boca Raton. A couple of
Oh,
years
she's
ago,
just crushed it.
but she just crushed it. Yeah, okay, good. A couple of years ago, she did a closing for $22 million. And then every year she does a little this, 1,500,000, a couple million, and all this. Last week she closed one for $33 million. And it's like out of nowhere. And here, Hedeka, you could have been in the same class. I mean, you're both seasoned professionals, let's call this. You both you're not social media gurus. You're not, and
You know
yet,
what? I ran into her at open houses yesterday.
okay,
She's out there in the field, like meeting people and talk and having those conversations. And I think that's the most important
yeah.
part.
And, but what to me what's amazing is that the two deals that I could only remember that she did, one was for 22 and one was like 33. And the reality is that a whole career goes into so much more than that. This for her, this could very well be a retirement event. I mean, I don't
Right.
know what she's making from that, but it really could be like a major source of retirement funds for her. If she did 2.5%, who's my math people? 2.5%, 750. It's like $800,000 of GCI or more. Um, and of course, you have to split it with the company. And of course, Uncle Sam, government wants their money. But the point is that it was remarkable. So I take comfort in this. I take comfort in the fact that I'm leaving on vacation later today. And I know that whenever I go away, my team gets busy. I don't know what happens. Maybe it's an old man on the mountain. Maybe it's luck. Maybe it's karma. I don't know what it is. But at the worst moment, it usually happens in June or July. I look in the mirror and I say, I should have been a dentist. What the fuck am I doing with my life? What's going on with all of this stuff? And then suddenly things seem to pick up, and it happens year after year after year that we go through that doldrum, and maybe it's the devil that's just trying to make you give up on yourself, put that wedge into your life and make you lose faith in yourself and lose confidence in yourself and all that. Maybe it's, I don't know what the whole thing is, but I know that you just keep going. Or as Dory in Saving Nemo used to say, who knows what Dory said? Anyone have kids?
Keep on swimming.
Keep on swimming. Okay, Nicole, of course I would Nicole. Keep on swimming, swimming, just keep swimming. That's it. You just keep swimming. Marlene, hi. Oh, sorry, I got you mid sip of your coffee there.
I just wanted to respond to Kirsten's comment. Hi, Kirsten. About the social media being personal and trying to give up control. And believe me, I think we're all like that. That we control the transaction. We want to control everything. For me, it was taking up so much time and I was not being consistent in my social media, in my messaging. So my coach was like, good is better than perfect, right? Or done is better than perfect. And I keep perfecting it every day. I do have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. So we have, structure for Monday through Friday. So it's getting done. Is it perfection? Not yet, but it's getting done every single day.
Okay.
I don't have to do it.
Here's an exercise to help you along. Go back. I know my company offers a very good window into the transactions that we had. Go back the last few years, if you have a few years in the business, and then count out all the deals that you had. Count out the total deals, the total revenue, the total GCI. When you could actually figure that out, at the worst moment, you could say, well, what was my worst year? What was the worst time that was going on? And have I gotten better in that time? Is there anything different about the economy? The law of large numbers will kick in at some point. Now, what do I mean by that? If you take a quarter and you flip the quarter, what percentage of time will it be heads and what percentage of times will it be tails? This is an easy one, guys. Come on. It's not that much of a Alicia, I could see you're obviously not driving there. You've got no excuse. You flip the coin. What percent of time will it be heads?
50.
50.
50. 50. Now, if you take a quarter out of your pocket right now and flipped it, you might get 7 times heads and 3 times tails. Or you could get 4 times tails and 6 times. That could be any combination. So, what does the law of large numbers suggest? The law of large numbers is very simple. If you flip that coin 10 times, the probability is that it's going to be 50-50, but it doesn't guarantee that it's going to be 50-50. Let's say you flip it 100 times. Now, what happens there? The law of large numbers would say that you're going to have a much narrower focus, that those 100 will be much, much closer to 50-50. What about 1,000? What about 1,000,000? The higher you go in the law of large numbers, the more it gets. But here's something very interesting, and you're going to like this from a selling standpoint. What if you make each 10 flips its own little silo? So you flip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 7 heads, 3 tails. You put that on the side. Then you do another set of 10. 1, 2, 3. And you actually took the averages of that. If you took a look at your biggest problem is this. So all of us have the same problem. A, we're not coming up to bat nearly enough. You're not going to hit any balls unless they're pitched to you. And 2, the law of large numbers is absolute. If you're under the same circumstances and the same situations, you're basically going to have the same amount of opportunity that will come through. And so, Hedeka especially, but all of you, if you're really feeling as though you're kind of falling down or you know what used to work, don't listen to somebody if they're telling you, if they're overwhelming you. You just heard from some pretty darn good agents here that the mastermind was overwhelming to them as well. Don't listen to me if it's not working for you, okay? I mean, because I like Jeff. He's a nice guy. I'm not going to mock his thing. But if it's overwhelming, what I'm really trying to do is give you little bite-sized morsels of what you find appealing. Some of you want to lean in like me on AI, others don't, and that's fine. You could really pick, but for goodness sakes, always make some type of plan to get from point A to point B. Okay, 9:30. Let's see what else we got going on here. Who else is outsourcing? Anyone? Dina. Oh, this is exciting. Dina, want to tell everyone who you are and where you are after you unmute?
Hello, I'm Dina Ulrich. I'm in Delray Beach and I'm on Edmund's team. And I know a lot of people like to outsource things like social media. But one thing that I did recently, just because of the time and also for me physically, I tend to get like carpal tunnel syndrome, all that. It's not exactly outsourcing because it was to Nicole, we are very lucky to have on our team, but I needed to do a mailing to a community. And Nicole actually hand wrote all 100 notes that I wanted to send. I went in, I found the right size houses. We found the down here, it's models. We found the appropriate models and she hand wrote notes for me because tends to be a slightly older community. I felt that they would be less social media savvy and more might respond to something like a handwritten note. We just mailed them out the other day. Hopefully we'll get a response. But something like that, I felt it was really important to do. And it was a great use of our resources, I felt.
Sure. I agreed. And if you see Nicole and want to shake her hand, she's going to shake it like this because she's got no more hand, but no, Nicole's a valuable member of our team, and I think that all of this stuff, we've got to make sure that whatever you're doing is actually paying off for you as you go on. But thank you for that, Dina. Let's talk about this. I mean, at the end of the day, how much of your time is spent selling? I'll give a reward for someone who says like 10%, because a lot of you are going through that or less. How much time is actually spent selling? See, nobody even wants to answer the question. Nobody wants to answer the question. I'm not going to yell at you here. I'm not going to be mean. And the only one, if you're ashamed of the answer, it's only shame to yourself. Take your problems head on, guys. How much of your time is spent? Anyone can answer this. Look at this.
Define selling, Ed.
Okay. Maybe I'll throw that back at you. Define selling that you're spending time, productive time, marketing or actually getting in front of buyers or sellers or people who can introduce you to buyers and sellers. You want to do some rentals? Good for you. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about getting into the real money here. So, Greg, how much time is spent? I know that Terry's got a coffee every week. What do you have?
On a daily basis, if I include lead generation activities, I would say 90 minutes.
90 minutes a day. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Are you able to actually prove the value of what you're doing?
I need to do a better job of tracking the return on investment of my time. I
Hmm.
try, but it doesn't if I look at the tracking that I do, it's very discouraging.
Okay. Well, look, you know what? Instead of looking at it from a moment of fear, look at it from a moment of faith. There's something that got you to this point in your life. There's something that actually brought you right here. And I could say that even if the answer is something you don't want to hear, Dina and I are going through this with a client right now. They don't want to hear the reality. There's been leaders throughout the world who failed. Whole empires have fallen because they didn't want to listen to the people who are telling them what is working and what's not. Hedeka, if something's not working, God damn it, stop it. When you're in a hole, stop digging. If that's not what's really going on, and then think through what will work. Again, and what's right for me is not necessarily what's right for you. I told everyone the story about how I lost a deal because I'm a man. The owner said, I don't think real estate is something that's sold by men. I'm going to go with a woman, even though I think you're better, smarter, and have a better plan. Okay, great. Enter Dina and Samantha. I need some estrogen. Stat. I need to get women on the team. It was the greatest education I ever got. It really was. Because if this guy feels that way, there's other people. Look, we can't get rid of all of our shortcomings, but good news, you don't have to. There's people that are not going to like you for certain reasons. You're too old, you're too this, but you got people that have different things that they're going to say. But go back to Louise. She has her little deals, little deals, little deals. She's honest. She's incredibly likable, and she just closed $33 million. I mean, that's a good day. That's like Andy Neal money, man. That's like big time. Okay, I got a chuckle out of him there. That's big money. That's a big thing. But she just keeps swimming, just like Dory, just like a little fish. I kind of like that. Okay, who else? Who else? So let's make a plan for all of you. Okay, so Marlene put her number out there. That's very nice. Any of you want to talk to Marlene? Marlene, are you going to yell at anyone if they call you or shame them and say, "Oh, how dare you cold call me from this?"
Never.
Never. There. 305-395-1077. A safe person to call. So many of you need to practice going back to the very basics. Pick up the phone and say, wow, that was a great meeting. And Ed, he's so handsome. I wonder who makes his shirts. Do one of those things, okay? And once you actually get through that, you could then talk about, this stuff. And you could get in the habit. So many of you have lost the habit of selling, that you really lost the habit of all of this. I used to hide the fact that I get a lot of business from dead people. There's a lot of people that die, there's a certain age within our community, and a lot of estates think of me, and a lot of people think of me. Why? I guess because I'm a pretty nice guy, because I don't lie, because I'm pretty much Johnny on the spot and caring about it. I think that I've gotten a lot of business there. So a lot of people would say, some people looked at it as a very bad thing. I don't. I'm not knocking on dead people's doors. I mean, that's not what I'm all about. But I know that there is a disproportionate business that I get in that manner. And when I talk to my team, I'm always trying to think, what can we do to get more? What can we do to do more? Because guess what? Somebody's going to get the deal. It might as well be me. and somebody's going to get the deal in your neighborhood. Today, somebody's going to die in your neighborhood, and somebody, a competitor of yours, is going to get that listing. We know that there's a listing. Marlene, there's a listing coming up just like a quarter mile from you, less than that, probably an eighth of a mile from you. There's a listing there. Nobody knows it, and it's going to happen. That's the thing that gets me jazzed. That's the thing that really gets me jazzed, knowing that some opportunities really come. And look, Marlene gave me the hearts. I love that. Okay, so day to day, you're going to get up. You're going to actually lead with. I lead with AI first and outsourcing first. I never do what I could outsource either virtually or to somebody else. And I never outsource what could really be automated. Automation I think is really important. And I'm trying really, really hard to be supremely focused on being that one-on-one contact. In fact, I get to the point where I meet somebody, I'll take a picture of their business card and I'll send it to Daniel and I'll just say three letters, FUB, follow-up boss. And he knows what to do from there because I just want to get it out of my head. I just want to be able to get it into the next process. Now, what are the things that will happen with that person that I got? Terry, you're leaning in. I like that, Terry. So you meet people just like that every fucking day. So you're at the coffee shop, somebody gives you the numbers. What happens then? And that gets to the point of all this outsourcing. That gets to the point of what can we do. What happens then?
I add them to my contact lists.
Okay.
I send them a follow-up like you say, like, hi, it was nice to meet you. Here's my contact information. Look forward to seeing you again. When can we meet again? Some kind of call to action. But they're on my e-blast list and my list to call people on a semi-regular basis.
Okay.
But to give a Daniel FUB or whatever that was would be a much more time thoughtful way to use my time as opposed to me doing all that stuff myself.
Sure. So that's definitely one thing, but let's focus on you met the person, they got into the database. I'm sorry, I'm off script here because I need to know. Is there any other follow-up that happens with that person other than the email blast that they typically get?
I try to follow up with them like a day later, a week later, 3 times, to see if it's just somebody that I met that I bought coffee that they're my neighbor. I don't follow up as intensely as I would as if they said, well, I need to sell or buy right now. But I will give 3 touches to those people just to let them know that I'm here. And then they will get my monthly e-blasts or wherever I've slot them on where they should be reached out to on a semi-regular basis.
Okay. Let me throw one other thing that might help you along with that. Again, just off script because for you especially, I think it's important. Okay, there's a website called Facebook. I hope many of you know it. And one of the things that they do is they celebrate everyone's birthday.
Yes.
And we could take a look at the different birthdays that are here. Now, if you connect with people, Facebook's made this a little bit too easy where you could just click and say happy birthday. What I'd really like for you to do is connect with everybody on Facebook when you can and just go through the simple discipline of going in the morning and finding out who this is. And then if you want to, like, I'm not sure who this person is, but here I just clicked there because I just don't know. But for the ones that I do know, I could say happy birthday, Tracy. It's been a long time. I hope you are well. Any plans to celebrate the big day? And now I send it. Okay. Now, that wasn't terribly exciting, but I'll say this. I'm much more likely to get a response from her because everyone's just busy clicking happy birthday. I mean, it's a very simple intellectual discipline. And by the way, it can be outsourced. Now, I've done that as well. Then I stopped because we said happy birthday to someone who had died a year ago and they never took down their Facebook page.
I see Daniel laughing over there.
Daniel's laughing because it was him. He was the one. I went, Daniel, the guy's dead. Oh my
We
God.
love you, Daniel.
But but now I'm not outsourcing that as much, but I'll just say this, it takes no time and you'll get a response from some people. And then you need to take it to the step further, be able to actually engage. I want to find out all the engagement parts that you have, because if we're going to look back 90 days from now and say that you've got closed business, we've got to figure out what it is that you're doing. Three steps, and I'll let you talk, Terry, and then I'll get to Greg. The three
Well, what
steps.
I do as that
Hold on, hold
prompt.
on, hold
Oh,
on. Just three steps. One, you're going to identify what you are planning on getting done. Okay? Write that down. You're going to identify what it is that you're going to do, as far as the tasks go, as far as what is all the work that encompasses Terry's job? What is all the stuff? Two, you're going to figure out using the 80/20 rule, what is the vital minimal stuff that's really going to give you business? And here's the thing, it's going to feel guilty because a lot of it is fun. Dina's tennis is an asset, not a liability. My going to the gym and hanging out in the bagel room is an asset, not laziness. It's not. Terry, you're sitting and getting coffee with people is an asset. We do less of it because we think we're not working when we're doing the very thing that we should be doing. Isn't that the truth? Okay, so we have that. Then we have to take a look at the actual tasks that we're doing and what can be deleted. You know, selective deletion is great. What can be automated? And then finally, what can be outsourced? Okay, so Terry, go ahead and then I'll pick Greg. Oh, no, Terry's running away now.
What I do is I use those Facebook birthday prompts, depending upon who they are. If they're in my very near sphere of influence, I send them a text message rather than do something on Facebook, because they would get that more immediately. You have to log on to Facebook to see what's going on Facebook, and if they don't that day because they're out celebrating their birthday, that way you're in their phone or their computer or wherever it is more immediately. I did that for you, Edmund, actually, on your birthday just a little while back.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you're worth it.
I'm welling up with emotion. Thank you. Greg, go ahead. Greg, you were, I think maybe you lost the question now because.
No, it wasn't really a question. It was just a layer on top. Both with the text and with Facebook, you can take it to another level with a video message. And actually, in some cases, I've been known to create what's the word I want to use? A canned birthday video message, for mostly used for other referral contacts, realtors across the nation. And that morning, first thing on the way in, I'm looking at my phone, I'm saying, "Whoop, birthday," and I send the video, and they think, actually, I should say, it is a very personal message from me saying happy birthday. Hope you have a great one.
Yeah.
Ed, yours bounced when I sent it. I don't know what the deal was.
My email bounced?
No, the text message video for your birthday.
Oh, you know why? Okay. Guys, everyone get out a pen right now. I'm going to fix this once and for all. I've got I mentioned FUB, Follow Up Boss. I've got a telephone number within Follow Up Boss, and I've got a telephone number that is through AT&T. Follow Up Boss lately has been giving me some troubles, and the reality is I'm being pulled in so many different directions. So this is me simplifying the life. If you don't mind writing this down, again, please get a pen. I'm deliberately taking some time so you could actually get a pen. Look, here, I'll show you how you do it. You go and you find a pen. Okay, there's a marker, but let's pretend it's a pen. You take very good. You hold it in the air and then write this down. 561 235 7575. Daniel, if you could put that in the chat, that would be great. You see, I just outsourced that. 561 235 7575. That's Ed. Oh, come on, Daniel. Put the little markers there. 561 235 7575. Yeah, come on. Make me look prettier here. So great. Please delete the other number. I'm going to keep it forever, probably, but we're going to communicate much better. Thank you for the birthday wish. I don't know why that thing has failed, but I do need to correct that, and that's my attempt with this, at least this small group of people. Where was I? Senior moment here. I'm forgetting stuff. Yeah, you know what? Like, and sometimes things work out. Lavette was so nice. She sent me a decorated what do they call it? The flower thing, but it was really fruit. What is the
Edible arrangements.
edible arrangements?
Ed-
And they couldn't deliver it because I wasn't home. Then I went to pick it up and it wasn't there. I was furious with these people, and I was just like, I was trying to find out how much she spent because I was going to send her money back because I just felt terrible. But fortunately for me, Dina's daughter was able to pick the thing up. So it was very, very sweet of Lavette. It goes recognized, guys. These are very, very sweet things. Not that any of you have to send me an edible arrangement or anything like that, but it was a very nice gesture. And Lavette, I am grateful to you for your friendship. That does mean a lot to me. Okay. Anyone else? Figure out what it is you do, what of that you're doing is really paying off, and then struggle with it. And then say, am I doom scrolling for stupid reasons? That's why I started learning Python. Every time I find myself doom scrolling, I go to a Python app and at least I'm learning. It's still a waste of time. I'm no liar. I know it is, but at least I'm actually being productive in that time and learning. So you've got to, and it does keep me somewhat sharp. I forgot what I was going to say. Just kidding. Anyway, we're going to get to wants, needs, and brags. Now's the time in the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. I'm going to brag. I'm out of here. I'm going on vacation, heading to the Holy Lands, to Israel. Can't wait. As all of you know, we don't have a meeting next week. So that's going to be, but we will be back the following week. Also, we have a yes, thank you, Daniel. He put it up. The next reminder is going to be June 25th will be the next Rain Nation. July 2nd, you should write this one down as well. A very special meeting I'm going to host on making these videos. Have any of you seen my movies, these little 8-second movie clips that I put on social media?
They're awesome.
Anyone, Marlene, have you seen them?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, Jonathan, Greg, Lavette, any of you see? Okay, so this
Yes.
is you could put these what's really become cinematic quality video on your social media. To actually put it together properly is really not that. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of thought. To make an individual video is simple, and if all of you just have a minute, I will just show you my a couple of my favorite ones. Let me just get that going.
Andy's burning the cookies.
What happened?
I said Andy is burning the cookies.
Sorry.
Uh-oh. Okay. So let's see if we could do this here. I got to share my audio, share sound. Okay, so hopefully you guys could see this and hear it. Oops.
Found the perfect home for me in Boca Raton, where I will be moving. Edmund Bogen found the perfect home for me in Boca Raton, where I will be moving.
So that was one. Then this one I kind of like,
Take my advice. Don't see this horrible play. You should meet with Edmund Bogen about buying a home in St. Andrews instead. Take my advice.
That was the president. And how about this one?
I may have just won the Super Bowl, but I won't be truly happy until I buy a home in St. Andrews Country Club from Edmund Bogen.
Okay, so this is, and then of course Moses.
We should have used the Edmund Bogen team at Douglas Elliman Real Estate.
So it's, and then this was the first one that I had done.
Can you believe Edmund Bogen made us with AI?
So pretty remarkable stuff. Dina's like holding her finger. What's up, Dina?
No. I just have a quick question. It shows you how absolutely little I know about football. Is that a real football player?
No, that was not a real football player. That was not a real team.
That's what I was going to say. And you can't use real people, right?
You can to some extent. Here, I made a video for my dad. My dad is the reason I'm going to Israel is my dad has been a lifelong contributor to the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And let me just see if I could pull this up quickly here because I was kind of proud of this one. Because if you want to try and make historic people, we will be talking about that in the meetings about how to do some of this with some real historical characters. Here, well, this one had no audio, but it was kind of cool. This is so there we have Albert Einstein and Golda Meir saying congratulations, Stanley. So I put that into a little video clip. Again, I couldn't get the audio out of that one very well. Let me just see if there was anything else there was one where I did get Albert Einstein actually speaking. And you could really get dramatic with all of this. I mean, you can make whatever the heck you want to make. So it is pretty wild. Anyway, I'll be sharing a lot of the stuff. Livette, you've been very patient. Go ahead.
First of all, I just want to say I love that. And I can't wait to learn it. Second, my brag is I was voted, well, excuse me, I was nominated again for the third year in a row for the best of real estate agent in Norfolk category. So I'm just asking, I'm going to drop the link, and if you could support me, I won 2 years in a row, and I hope to win again.
Quickly do it now.
I'm asking my tribe to vote.
Livette's great, and it's worth supporting one another. So please, Livette, put it in now and before we do that. And Livette, if anybody called you, would you hang up on them?
Would I hang up on them?
Any of these people in this meeting, if they cold called you to say hi and say, I want to practice my cold call, would you hang up on them?
Absolutely not. I will welcome that.
It's safe. Livette is safe. Terry's safe. Andy's safe. All of you are safe. You need to and why is that? I mean, are they going to get you business? Maybe. But what it will do, it's an intellectual discipline that's going to subconsciously give you permission to pick up the bloody phone and call people. Okay? Whew, glad I got that off my chest. Okay, what else do we have here? People are still leaving messages here. Congratulations. You see, everyone's happy for you, Livette. I am too. Very proud. And by the way, you better damn well pimp that out as much as you can. You better get that all out there on social media. Really important stuff. Okay, who else? Want, need, or brag?
I've got a new listing. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath penthouse in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn. Magnificent views of downtown Manhattan and downtown Brooklyn. It's a great, unique layout in that each bedroom is in a corner of the apartment for complete privacy. It's a combination unit, so it's kind of loft-like. Monthlies are decent for $2,499. First showing will be the open house this Sunday from noon until 1:30. Tell all of your buyers.
Okay.
I'll be putting out the video later today.
Love that. Good. Who else? Okay, I got a question for you guys. If we had a destination conference at some point where I got some speakers and really put some great content together, would any of you be interested in going to something like that? One?
Absolutely. I've been telling you this.
Two? Okay, 3. Anyone else? Just 3 of you. Okay. Oh, 4, 5, 6. Okay, a bunch of you do. Oh, wow. Okay. You've had the power all along. By the way, any of you come to Boca, you know I'm buying you lunch, and it's a good one. Ask Dina.
Can it be at the country club?
Absolutely. Terry's been here too. Dina, tell everyone about the dessert that you like here. I love putting her on the spot. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, it's funny. Anyway, inside joke here.
I
guys.
like ice cream for dessert.
You like ice cream for dessert, but you like the ice cream. Is there some like extra thing that you put on the ice cream that you really?
I think at St. Andrews they have wet nuts just for me.
Yeah, just for her.
Edmund loves that I love my wet nuts.
She's like, oh, I need more wet nuts. I'm like, great. That's just great stuff. Okay, we did this. But yeah, everyone's voted for Livette. Livette, I voted for you as well. So that went out there. Okay, guys, this meeting's getting a little blue. I kind of like it. It's really great to see all of you. I'm really you're my morning vitamins, and I really am honored to work with so many great people. If you want to talk about coaching, I'd be very keen to meet with you one-on-one. You could reach out to Daniel at Bogen Homes for that. And other than that, it makes me look at you and well, Terry, first of all, are you ready?
I am. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, if Terry's ready, I'm going to say it sure was great seeing all of you today. It really is so much fun hosting this meeting, and I hope you gained a lot out of it. And I look forward to seeing you 2 weeks from now for another exciting episode of
Rain Nation.
Fantastic. Wouldn't be able to end the meeting without you. So yeah, and if you want to stick around, I'm going to try and get a couple of those videos here that I could share with you. You know what? Is anyone on TikTok? Nobody?
I am.
Yes.
Okay. I got on TikTok, but I still think of it as like something for like teenage girls. I don't know if I really fit into the TikTok world, but I'm trying to pull up some video here. One more second. Yeah, that would be a great meeting for all of you to go to, is the July 2nd meeting. We'll be doing it a bunch of times, but let me just see here. Final cut. Okay, so here I did this. This was Albert Einstein. Here we go. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Can you hear it?
Congratulations, Stanley, and thank you for donating my letters to the Hebrew University.
Okay, I won't go through the whole video that I actually made, but that was kind of cool. I mean, that was the best that I was able to get. Albert Einstein, it was not as perfect as some of these other things that are out there. Because a lot of you have asked, can you get celebrities or get people that are known? I tried to do Taylor Swift. It shut me down faster than you could imagine. I think that they are really worried about being sued by people like that. So, it's not the easiest thing to get those folks. But there was one other that I had here, and I'll go through the whole video here. Again, it's a 6-minute video.
Congratulations, Stanley. Thank you so much for the cigarettes. You are so kind.
Okay. Now, what was that all about? When my dad was in his early 20s, and when it was the 1950s, he would fly to Israel, and Israel didn't have a lot of stuff. Not only that, but Golda Meir was a very well-known socialist, and she didn't want to be seen buying cigarettes when he was actually there. This is just to show how small the place was then. He would buy duty-free cigarettes for her on the airline and bring her cigarettes. So I have a joke, well, did you kill the prime minister? Did she die of lung cancer? And he said, no, just old age. But that was kind of an inside joke that we were able to do. So there's kind of fun things that you could do with it, as well as getting other content that really matters to you. What I envision all of you doing with this is you have the perfect interior of a house, but not the greatest exterior of, let's say, a community. Or let's say you're in Norfolk, Virginia, and you need an aerial view of the area at night. You can now go to various AI tools to create your evening aerial shot that doesn't really exist. Now, I'll say this over and over again, check with your local realtor association if that's allowed, but I'm not misrepresenting the property at that point. I'm making art that actually goes into a video. So you'll have to decide for yourself if that's something that you want to do. Anyway, those are the two things. If you want to see more of it on all of my social media, I've got all sorts of stuff, and on TikTok, I've got a whole compilation that I've put together, which I, for whatever reason, can't seem to get onto the screen here. And that's basically it. I'm glad everybody stuck around.
Have a great trip, Ed.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Have the best time.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Yeah.